Hi, I'm still out here camping in the desert. You might be able to see some mountains in the background. You may hear some wind or other noise. Anyway, I'm out here, so I missed the meltdown on social media when members of the Republican Party basically took Putin's side when Putin challenged Biden to a debate. Yesterday, when I talked about this, I thought it was a stupid troll when I told you about the person who said on my Twitter feed, Biden is weak and pathetic, and not being able to debate Putin shows the entire world America is now weak and ready for the taking. Well, apparently the troll was repeating Donald Trump Jr., who said this. Putin just challenged Joe Biden to an unscripted live debate. The whole world knows that we have no leadership at the top, just an empty suit with a teleprompter, and he can't even get that right. They look at America's weakness right now and are salivating. A debate raged. Were the Republicans repeating Russian attacks on the American president, or were the Russians taking their cue from the Republicans? Well, it doesn't really matter in some ways, right? People on social media were also asking, in tones of awe and shock, why the Republicans are taking Putin's side against an American president. Well, I can answer that. You see, the modern Republican Party plus Putin equals true love because they have common goals. For decades now, Russia has been beckoning to America's far right wing, presenting Russia as the savior of white majority rule. Beckoning, by the way, is Yale professor Timothy Snyder's word. He's the scholar who's written about this. I'll include links to his work in the sources. Now, this beckoning includes Russians infiltrating the NRA and helping to radicalize the NRA as a right-wing paramilitary extremist group. But that's a big topic for another video. The Republican-Russian love affair has been evident for some time. Putin's regime, remember, is built on homophobia in fear of those who are different. As part of Putin's rejection of all things communist, he embraced Christianity and aligned himself with American evangelicals. Here's a timeline. In 2013, Russia enacted anti-homosexual legislation. In 2014, American Pat Buchanan said that Putin was, quote, entering a claim that Moscow is the godly city of today. Buchanan went on to praise Putin for stamping out, quote, Western evil like easy divorce and homosexuality. British right-winger Katie Hopkins, in an article where she was being interviewed with her friend, American right-winger Ann Coulton, said, quote, Putin rocks. Katie Hopkins then went on to praise Russia as being, quote, untouched by the myth of multiculturalism and deranged diversity. Talk show host Tucker Carlson said that the U.S. should rethink America's alliances. Now, Tucker Carlson basically derided people who claimed that Russia was our enemy. Senator Paul Rand, who clearly has his own ties to Russia, agreed. In the summer of 2018, Senator Rand Paul went to Moscow to, quote, open lines of communication. He met with Russian leaders and invited them to the United States. Also in 2018, Rudy Giuliani attended a pro-Russia conference. Also in 2018, 8 Republican leaders spent July 4th in Russia. I'll include one more example because it's instructive. Paul Hassan, the guy, I don't know if you remember him, he planned to mass murder liberals. Talk of, quote, looking to Russia with hopeful eyes. Putin and America's far right wing want the same thing. Putin would like civil war in the United States. The far right wing has long been talking of civil war. Putin would like for the United States to become a Russian-style oligarchy. This is exactly what the modern Republicans want. Putin entirely privatized the Russian government and put all that wealth into the hands of himself and a few other white men. Now, back under the communist regime, the Russian government owned and controlled all the nation's resources. What happened in the early 90s when the communist regime crumbled is that Russia adopted a democratic constitution. But before democracy could take root, there was a mad scramble to grab the resources. Over a period of about 10 years, a few crooks seized control of Russia's industries and resources. This gave them enormous wealth and eventually control of the government. There are elections in Russia, but they were just for show. The outcome was controlled by these bandits. So Russia is now an oligarchy, which means a few wealthy people control all of the nation's industries and wealth, and the government, because when you have that kind of wealth, you control the government. This is exactly what the modern GOP wants. They want to privatize government functions and create the kind of income inequality that allows a few white men to control the nation's resources. So they imitate Putin's tactics. Putin is their hero. Of course they side with Putin. They want the same things. So the Russia-Republican love affair has been conducted in open view. Why then are people so surprised? Well, for the past several years, we've been hit with such a tsunami of spectacle and crisis that people can't step back and assimilate what's going on. I talked about Putin's method of governing by crisis and spectacle in an earlier video. Trump created so much crisis and spectacle over the past 4 or 5 years that nobody could focus on the love affair between America's right wing and Russian oligarchs, even though it was there all along in plain view. What's happening is that Putin is leading the way toward the kind of society the Republicans want, an oligarchy in which government is privately owned and privately controlled. Sometimes I think we're better off now that the GOP isn't trying to hide what's happening. Thank you.